Welcome back to the Life Legacy Podcast. Today I'm super excited. This one will be special without a doubt. And I'm going to tell you about who we have on and to me what has been most impressive about him. And so I'm just going to go down the list before I say your name.
Fire away.
But this guy is relentless in all he does, but he's so relentless that he's successfully exited 8 companies. I haven't met too many people with higher energy and higher positive energy. His lightheartedness next to like the deep, intense care for people, I think your range is super cool because then you get the enjoyable side of a human interaction, but then you could take it as deep as changing someone's life forever. And I felt that.
Cool.
High quality in leadership and business. I think how you run your businesses has been really special to watch, as well like the leadership I've seen that you do with your family and the example you set with the opportunities that you give them to learn. And it doesn't seem like you give them things, you give them opportunities to learn and become themselves. And then the level of humility and level of care and love he shows for everyone. And so I'm talking about the one and only Corbin Church.
Jackson, those are awfully kind words. I'm going to set you up to speak at my funeral.
Hey, I'm there.
That was nice stuff.
Yeah. And so I'm just honored to have you
I'm honored
on
to be here.
and
Thanks. I consider you a great friend, and I'm glad to be here with you today.
yeah, vice versa. I want to give the backstory of how I met you.
Please.
And it started back in my business. We were in a moment where I was about to get some office space. And there was one Sunday where I'd done all my normal Sunday things, and there was a come follow me that I did not want to go to at all. But I felt impressed that I needed to, like a couple different times. And so I was like, all right, I'll just go, and like, great. And when I was there, I got introduced to someone that brought up iHub, and they're like, this is the coolest thing ever. And he was telling me it's like an entrepreneurship incubator, get people off the ground, things like that. And like I felt in that moment, that was why I needed to be at that come follow me. So
We manufacture luck in our lives, don't we?
that's right.
When we listen to promptings, when we make the effort to go, when we do things we don't necessarily want to do.
Yeah.
When we go to networking events, when we go to parties, I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
And then I met this person there. That's all part of manufacturing luck in life.
Proactive luck.
Yeah. All right. Am I lucky? Yeah. Do I manufacture a lot of my luck? Yeah. But I'm a lucky person.
Yeah.
But don't think for a moment that we don't manufacture that luck. Why are you so lucky compared to other people? Because you take advantage of chance occurrences. And that was a chance occurrence.
I
Nice
like
job.
that. Thank you. In that chance occurrence, I learned about iHub, and I just thought it sounded really amazing. One, that's something I see in my future of wanting to build. And so when I came in, I came in that next day and just learned everything about it. And while I was learning about it, I'd listened and heard about you. And then, there's the moment where the big guy walks into the room and it's like, hey, that's the man over there.
Who was the big guy?
And but I want to have an incubator in the future, and I was like, you know what? This guy sounds like an unreal leader and someone I should understand, and how you've ran iHub has been super impressive. And yeah, that's kind of where we first got to hang out and get to know each other.
And iHub is my entrepreneurial endeavor. You're there getting your entrepreneurial pursuit off the ground. Well, so am I. iHub is an entrepreneurial pursuit. I'm learning new things every day. I'm raising donations for the first time in my life. I've raised tons of capital, mostly for other people than more so than myself. But this is my entrepreneurial adventure too. And so I'm right alongside you doing entrepreneurism and some things I'm not used to. So it's a journey.
Yeah, I love whatever phase you're in your life, there's always the journey of progression that will never stop
Yeah,
if you choose. I
that's
think
right.
people can get very complacent in, the comfort of their normal being in their life. But I've loved it no matter what level of success you are at, you have the choice to progress.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I had an exit 15, 14 years ago, and I decided it was time to play golf and have some fun.
Mm,
And I took some time off, and the time off was fine, but I also found that that wasn't me.
mm.
I was bored and I had to be doing more. And so now iHub, well, that's a lot more. iHub is a full time and a half job. But yeah, I learned that I couldn't just be idle. I couldn't just play golf and mess around. I needed something more. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Driven people, they're going to keep driving and going to the very end.
Yeah. And I feel like they're in sixth gear, but their engine is like they're in first gear, where it's like just
Well
ready
stated.
to go.
Yeah.
And with you, I don't think there's a lot of people that have the well-roundedness of the level of success that you have, and that goes way past money. And so I want to understand what you feel like has been the blueprint of success, so people, one, can realize, how someone can get to the point of life where you figured out how to get to, but two, just show. I love getting to have someone like you and humanizing them, and realize you're just a great person that's done some things extraordinarily well that people can do.
That's very kind of you to say, Jackson. There's so much luck involved on that journey. We talked about luck a moment ago at the beginning of your podcast, but there was so much luck involved. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm not brilliant. I'm hardworking, and I have a lot of determination. That's done a lot of good for me. But also that's what manufactured my luck, right? Okay? And then a lot of things went well for me. And for whatever reason, was it divine? Was it pure luck? Coincidence? I have my beliefs. But as you go along that path, there's just, you know, open-mindedness, keeping an open mind. If I go back to the beginning, I wanted to be rich. Now, I'm not very proud to say that today, but that was my goal. I was out to achieve wealth. I wanted a comfortable life, and that was my driving force then. Looking back, it makes me cringe a little bit, but that was my driving force, comfort, and to provide for my family. We feel that as a leader of a family, if you will, and co-leadership with my wife, of course, but I felt that need to meet my family's needs. And so one thing led to another, and you just keep going. But boy, I'm a different person today.
Mm.
I look at everything in such a different light today. I would say that today my life is very much more spiritually led. Now, I've been a man of faith my entire life. Now, in fairness, you said let's keep it real.
Let's keep it real.
That faith looks like this. Okay? Is that real? Well, I don't know for you. For me, I have my highs and I have my lows with my faith. Times when I struggle more than other times. But I'll tell you that right now, my faith in a higher being is as high as it's ever been. Like, that doesn't mean that with my faith, I'm all in on every principle. There's a lot of things I don't get within my faith. And that's okay. Because what I've come to understand at an older age, and I want to profess this as much as possible, especially to younger people, is you don't need to know everything. A lot of the young people who I teach or are in my congregation and where I lead as a leader, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I serve in a young single adult ward. They look at me and they're like, wow, Look at Corbin Church, Brother Church as I'm known. Look at him.
Brother Church.
Boy, look at him. He's got it all. He's figured it all out. No, no, I don't. I don't understand this, and this.
Yeah.
And you don't need to either. What a colossal mistake we make when we depart therefrom because we don't understand this or this. And what I've come to know is my Savior, the atonement, it will make up the difference. That's what the atonement is making up the difference in life. Okay, I don't know some things. I'm trying. I'm striving is the key word, but no, there's a lot more I don't know than that I do know. But what I do know is the teachings of love and kindness and service and forgiveness. That's what I need to know. The other stuff, maybe it'll come, maybe it won't. Don't care.
What's been a pivotal spiritual experience you've had?
Well, that's going to bring us back to iHub.
Good.
Many years ago, I wanted to start an incubator. I've taught, it's December 2024. I just finished 12 and a half years of teaching entrepreneurism at BYU. About 350 students every semester. So we're talking pretty significant. I do this as an adjunct. It's my give back. As I go through this process, I learned that there is a tremendous amount needed outside the class. You can't teach everybody to become entrepreneurs and then walk away from them and start a new semester. It doesn't work because many of them are going to act on what you just taught them. And then they're coming back to you saying, okay, Brother Church, I did A, what's B? Okay, I did B, what's C? Well, somebody's got to be there to answer those questions. There's a compounding effect semester over semester. And it got to the point where there were too many people asking for counsel and advice, and I couldn't handle it. And that was the impetus for an incubator. We've got to do a better job of supporting these young entrepreneurs who are starting businesses. So this idea came about years ago. And I've been pushing for it to be built in a lot of different ways. And in the end, I decided if it's going to get done, I'm going to have to do it. And so in October of 23, I went out to a few friends and I said, this is what I'm going to do. And I got a few friends behind me. Huge shout out and thanks to Todd Peterson, to Brian and Louise Murphy, gigantic help. Scott and Carmen Moskrip, gigantic help. But also, you're going to have to edit this out as I think of the name. Oh, yeah. Cooks. Come on. Church. Greg and Julie. But also Greg and Julie Cook from doTERRA. They gave me 15,000 square feet in their HQ and said, come on in. But the question that you asked was, what was the biggest spiritual moment in my life? And I don't have a ton. I haven't done all these things where I have spiritual moments all the time. I don't go to church and have spiritual moments. If I have a spiritual moment, it's usually listening to a hymn song. Music helps me feel the Spirit. And then we started iHub. And when I say we, Kara and I. And as we go through this process, Jackson, especially in the beginning, we saw the Lord's hand every single day. People coming up and saying, hey, I heard you're doing this. Can I help with this? Hey, what if I did this for you? And just occurrences. Again, I'm going back to chance occurrences were happening. And we couldn't allow the word coincidence to be tied to these chance occurrences. There is no way. That is denying divinity. That is denying the Lord's hand in this work. It's just been amazing. And then that was a further driving force to be sure this succeeded because we knew we were engaged in God's work.
So amazing.
Which some people say, really? Helping entrepreneurs, making successes, making money? Yeah. Yeah, it's called self-reliance. And if that leads to excess, you know what excess leads to? The ability to have additional time and additional finances to help people who are less fortunate.
Mm.
I think that God expects of us to not be ordinary, but to be extraordinary, to go above and beyond. He's a creator. He expects us to be creators and to go and do, and to exceed our potential,
Yeah.
or to at least achieve our potential.
So let's take an ordinary person.
Yeah.
How do you make them extraordinary?
Believe in them. Sorry, there was no pause there.
They're, you know it.
When you take somebody and you believe in them, extraordinary things happen. This is such an important lesson for anybody to hear. But I love to ask somebody to do something that's outside their realm and say, yeah, you can do it. I know you can. Go and do. And let them figure it out. They have to be a self-starter. But take Jacob Lee. Jacob Lee was in my class winter 2024. Jacob came to me and he knew about iHub and he said, Corbin, you've got to do a podcast for iHub. You've got to let people hear these entrepreneurial stories. I don't know what a podcast is. And I turned to Jacob and I said, Jacob, that's such a great suggestion. You really should do that. Go and do. Jacob created a podcast for iHub. He has done an extraordinary job. He had no idea. He didn't have a piece of equipment. And he's self-taught. He's worked hard. Is it perfect? Probably not. But it's really good. And you got to believe in people. You got to give people the opportunity to step up and be great. And Jacob's such a perfect example of that. And I'm not taking credit for that. I'm saying believe in people and give them the chance, and they'll rise to the occasion.
Yeah. How do you qualify the self-starters? Like I think you should give belief to absolutely everyone.
Yeah,
And then trust, I think, is another factor.
that's true.
And I think you should trust everyone with normal life interactions, but then when they're coming on your journey, yeah, how do you differentiate that?
Solid question, Jackson. There are many people in my entrepreneurial world, primarily in my class, and I'll engage in them in interactions. They'll make an appointment with me, or they'll come up after class, or we have a class where when it ends, people stay afterward. We call it group mentoring because there's not enough hours. How are we going to get this done? Well, about 75 to 100 people stay after class on Mondays for an entire hour to an hour and a half. They're just firing questions and everybody's learning as questions are asked. That's where it begins. We are programmed in years 1 through 12 grades, just like Pavlov's principle. When the bell rings, I'm putting my stuff together. I'm out of here. The teacher can't keep me back. You can't keep me anymore. I'm gone. My class ends at 3:15 in the afternoon. There isn't anything after my class. Maybe at 3:30, but probably not till 4 o'clock. If you're running out, you were here for a grade. That's not what I'm teaching. I'm teaching entrepreneurs. I'm teaching self-starters. Those who stick around for an hour afterward without being compelled to do so. Ooh, that's a big check mark in that column, which you asked about. How do you know who those self-starters are? It starts there. The people who make appointments with me come in and sit down and they're doing what I've asked them to do, proven principles that will lead to entrepreneurs. Those are the people I know. And then you see some of those other character traits like charisma, salesmanship, some personality traits. And I know, oh, you've got a lot going for you. Chances are you're going to be successful. And I want to hitch my wagon to your horse.
Yeah.
Because Jackson, you're going to be successful. I'll hitch my wagon to you because I want to go along for the ride because it's going to be a successful ride. That's in a nutshell how you figure it out. You see people who make the extra effort and then you know. And then those who got up and left class, no disrespect to them, but they're still programmed. They're still in a mode that I need to see them grow out of and get out of before I'm going to say, oh, wow, you've really got something.
I what thought came to my mind was I was talking with Casey Baugh. You were there too, and I just asked Casey, why did you donate to iHub, and why did you invest with Corbin? And he just looked at me, just how I asked that question, and you were instantly like, belief. Like I know. He didn't hesitate, and he said, because of Corbin. Like he does that same principle, and I think that's really special,
I
and
think more
it's
than most
intelligent.
anybody, Casey Baugh is a believer in people.
Mm,
You see all the things he does by encouraging young people to read these books and buying them the books, giving them a reward for when they do it. Casey and Chelsea Baugh are believers in people.
mm.
That's a great trait.
I love that.
Yeah.
What's your why?
My family.
Mm,
Today, my why is my family. I was building big businesses for a long time, and I was everywhere in the world but home. And I regret that. I missed some important things. And I look back and did I have to do that to achieve the successes that I did? Maybe. Could I have found a better balance? Definitely. But today it's my family. Right now, as we speak, Jackson, I have two grandchildren on the way. Those will be 1 and 2, first ones.
wow.
And this is my new opportunity. I'm going to be a better grandpa than I was a dad. I'm not proud of that. But the
Mm,
past is the past. I'm not going to get depressed looking at the past. I'm going to focus on today, and I'm going to be awesome today.
mm,
I'm going to be awesome to my daughters, to my sons in law, and to our grandchildren on the way. My family fuels me. The one thing that would be above my family would be my faith. And I'm not an extraordinarily religious person. That's not me. I spent a lot of time here talking with you today, sharing faithful aspects of myself. You drive that out of me. But I've become, in my way, a pretty faithful person of late. I feel it growing a lot. And I would put faith first because faith makes me a better husband, a better father, and a better grandfather.
mm,
So the only thing I would ever put above my family for the rest of my life would be my faith, because my faith makes me better at those things.
yeah.
But those are my whys. Everything else, iHub, my investments, all that, extraordinarily secondary to my family.
You know, I think Kara is a very special lady,
Yeah.
and I've only gotten to know her in this past year, but what a power couple. Like this is this is one of those like, holy cow, if that could be me and whoever that future wife is, like that's gold. That's a dream.
I want her to hear this. I want her to hear you say that.
Yeah.
We do not see ourselves as such. We see other people and we say, oh, wow, power couples. We just don't see ourselves as that. We just want to be servants.
Mm,
I don't say that in the servant sense of the word. I say it in the servant sense of the word. We're here to serve. We're here to give back, to somehow explain why. Why us, Heavenly Father?
mm,
Why did you grant us so much in life? How? Why?
mm.
I mean, I'm not the smartest dude around. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Um, my wife and I just look at what we've been blessed with, and we feel a pretty massive responsibility. There's a big word. Big responsibility to give back, to
Yeah.
say thanks. Thanks for hooking us up. Don't know why, but we feel some responsibility with it. I hope we're doing okay.
Yeah. I think you're doing a superb job with
Thanks.
what you've been given and what you've also earned.
That's kind of you.
Tell me about Kara.
She's my rock. Now, I don't say that cliche. Kara is, night before last, I was sending out a pretty strong email. It was a termination email. And I had written it, and it was pretty late, close to 11. And I called Kara in. And I said, will you do me a favor? Will you read this? Now, there's a lot of legalese in there, and And not that I'm an expert in legalese, but there was some legalese and some stuff in there that's where she's not an expert. And I wanted her to read it before I pressed send. And she read it, and she came back into the bathroom, and I'm brushing my teeth, and she said, "You need to take out this, this, and this. It
Oh.
showed too much emotion." And I walked back in and I reread it and I struck exactly what she told me to strike. Now, those things made me feel good
Yeah.
because they were factual and they were my blows back to an adversary, if you will, saying, here's why we're terminating. And those things made me feel good. And she made me strike them. She's my rock. Like, she's who I go to. She keeps me grounded. She keeps me humble. I'd be a different person, I'm afraid, if I weren't married to Kara and I had lucked upon the success that I have. I would probably be a different person without her. I would probably be caught up in my wealth. I would be caught up in myself. When I say she's my rock, I'm not being cliche. I'm lucky to have her. I'm afraid of who I might be if I didn't have her.
I think that's a great attribute to a wife. That's amazing.
Yeah. There aren't many couples who spend as much time together as we do in a day because
Yeah.
we work at iHub together. That's a unique verb, but we work at iHub together and we're together 90% of our days. Most couples probably wouldn't survive that. We
Yeah.
don't know outside of that.
I I see you guys, and it's like you feel the love you have for each other,
Yeah.
which is just really special.
We're pretty open about it. I'm I'm not very bashful about a few things. I sometimes swat her on the fanny and then it's like, oh, we're in a public place. And somebody looks over and says, I saw that. I'm like, whoops. But we're pretty affectionate and we're pretty open about it. And we laugh and we have a good time and we're not too serious.
Yeah,
It's all good.
I love it.
It's good.
With your journey to success, where have been like everyone's journey, when you reach a certain point, you have to go through some crazy thresholds in life.
Yeah.
As I would imagine, as a father with kids, running businesses, things like that. Where was a moment of like real refiner's fire for you, and how'd you get through
Which one, right?
it? Yeah.
You know, you were probably just born, Jackson, but 9/11 was very vivid. You know, you hear about people talk about major events that took place and where were you and what was happening at that time. I was launching a business in Denver, Colorado. It was an anti-acne skincare system. And my partner called and said, turn on the TV. And I saw what was going on and everything shut down. The world changed after 9/11. The amount of changes that took place in our country from a security standpoint, a border standpoint, dramatic changes. Well, business also screeched to a halt. And I had just started a new business. And that was a tough go. I had a lot on the line and it put everything in jeopardy.
When you say a lot on the line, do you feel comfortable sharing details?
Yeah, at that time I probably had a couple $100,000. You know, that's a lot of money saved. And I put that money on the line to start this business. So if this business doesn't go, you're starting over.
You're at ground
It's
zero.
like you're ground zero. It's like I just graduated. Let's go get a job. That's what I was facing. That's a scary picture to face. It took some time for things to calm down. We were able to raise some capital, and then we were faced with another blow. And this is where entrepreneurism is a roller coaster. We have highs when we raise money, and then we have lows when our media falls apart and it's not working. And we had somebody who made a very large commitment to us and then pulled out of their financial commitment. It was millions of dollars. Yeah, you just have those things that make you really dig deep. And it was scary. I felt a lot of stress during those days, stress that probably took a lot of toll on my body. But I was fortunate enough to get through it, to sell that company, to come upon the next. And anyway, yeah, that was
How do
scary.
you go from that moment where you're stressed out of your mind and most people freeze up and they feel paralyzed? How do you get from there when you need to take the most action and everything is telling you you can't move right now, you know?
Physically, you actually can't move sometimes. It's paralyzing in
Yeah.
a literal sense. But if you become paralyzed, now maybe for a moment you're paralyzed and you're in shock and you're terrified, but you have to get out of bed the next day and go back and conquer the world. And we did. It's good to have a good partner. And when I say partner, I'm talking about Kara and a business partner. People who buoy you up, people who say, you've done this before, you can do it again. Let's go. And help instill that belief in you, reinforce that belief, and you get out of bed. I often say this, there's no checking in when you're an entrepreneur. There's no time clock. There's no alarm clock. There's nobody getting you out of bed and saying, hey, it's time to go to work. There's no manager to check in with. You have to be self motivated. And so you have to self motivate through those valleys. You celebrate the peaks, but you got to get through the valleys too. And that essentially is what defines an entrepreneur. What did you do in the valleys? And you just persist. You got to keep going. You got to have some determination. And we did. We made her work. But I was refined in the fire many times.
So when you're in that valley, what goes through your mind? Like think back to one of those times and it's like what actually pushes you through?
I can do this. Most people are saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose it all. Oh my gosh, we put everything on the line. Oh my gosh. And you get so bogged down in, oh my gosh,
The
we are
scarcity.
going to lose it all. And I say, okay, yes, but we can do this. We can do this. There are other ways. What if we go down this road? Let's get together. Let's brainstorm. Let's figure out our way around this. What's next? And that's the difference. I don't want to call myself a winner, but that's the difference between winners and losers. Those who get into a valley and say, all right, how do we pivot? What's the other way around this? What are alternative methods? Let's go figure that out. That's what we have to do.
It's amazing.
That's what you, when you're in that valley, Jackson, don't say, I'm going to lose it all. Oh my gosh, what if? I love it. I went to actually, Dave Jensen and Casey Baugh invited us to singers and songwriters up at Sundance summer before last. And one of the songwriters
I
was
was there.
Emily Shackley. Yeah.
Mm.
And I remember she said to the audience, because she was asked a similar question, she said, well, you have so many lows and just a few successes. How do you deal with that? And she said, we often ask ourselves as humans the question, what if it all falls apart? And she said, no, I've trained myself to ask, what if it all falls together? What if it all falls together, Jackson? Look at the successes. Look at what you're going to be able to do if it all falls together. Don't ask, what if it all falls apart? Focus on, what if it all falls together? I love that Emily brought that up that day, and I thought it was so profound. That's how we've got to be thinking.
It's powerful.
It is.
And just with time and everything, I want you to hit on fulfillment, life fulfillment, what that means to you. And yeah, let's hit on that.
I don't want to talk about a legacy because I don't care too much about leaving a legacy in the sense of what legacy do you want to leave?
Yeah.
That's I don't want my name attached to things. I don't want it to be that. But what I want to do is I want to create in iHub. iHub is my mission. I'm self-called. I'm on a mission right now. And it's to create an extraordinary number of successes that wouldn't have gone otherwise, to make a difference in this business realm with entrepreneurs, lots of businesses right here in Utah County. I'm not interested in dotting the map with iHubs. There will be a few others, but they're very selective. That's not my goal. That's not my ambition. I want to do it right here in Utah County. I want to do it with people who I believe have a greater chance, a higher percentage. We don't have a lock on this, let's be clear. But with people who I believe will use those resources to build the kingdom of God. Now, when I say build the kingdom of God, my definition might be different than a listener's definition of build the kingdom of God.
Let's hear it.
I don't care who your God is, because as a member of my faith, my God might differ from your God. But it's about doing good in the world. It's about lifting other people. It's about bettering other people's lives. My legacy, I want to leave having blessed a lot of people's lives with no name attached to it. Just having done good and blessed a lot of people and then step out. That's what I want my legacy to be.
It's powerful. And you've already done that to a large scale. And I only see that continually growing. My first person to ever offer, your life legacy money we've never raised, but that was a cool moment with you.
Good for you.
And thank you for being a cool mentor in my world, in my life.
That's because I'd hitch my wagon to you. You're an impressive young man with really impressive qualities, attributes. I'd hitch my wagon to your horse. You stay the course, you're going to do great things in life. First time I sat down with you, Jackson, you said, I just met you. We'd gone back 10 seconds. You said, do you mind if we pray? I was very impressed with that. Those are your beliefs. Those are your convictions. You stick to them. Don't ever change. You don't need to be anybody else's person. You be Jackson. I was really impressed.
Thanks, Corbin.
Nice
I
job.
appreciate it a lot.
You bet.
And honored to have you come on. And I know there were so many insightful things here. And yeah, I think a big thing that comes out of this is sincerely believe in yourself and do big things. Create big impact in life. And Corbin, you're an unreal human, and honored to have you in my corner.
Honored to be in your corner, especially today. Thanks, Jackson.
Yeah, thank you.
All the best.
That's the podcast.